Welcome to those that we know, to those that we don't know yet. The Torah tells us that when Eliezer, the servant of Avram Avinu, was sent to find a wife for Yitzchak, when he arrived, he introduced himself and he said, Eved Avraham Anochi. He wasn't ashamed, he wasn't embarrassed. He didn't say, I'm the CEO or COO or CQO. He was very proud to say, Eved Avraham Anochi. It's my privilege to say that a little over 40 years ago, I was privileged to come into contact with Breslov. At the time in the United States, in New York, I met a rabbi by the name of Reb Rosenfeld, Zechron Livracha, who was a major Talmid Chacham in all areas of Torah, Gemara, Halacha, Kabbalah, Chasidus, and had the privilege of learning from him from about 8 years old. Unfortunately, he passed away at a young age, 56. But Baruch Hashem, even after he passed away, I had the privilege of meeting and learning from the elders of Breslov in Yerushalayim, among them Reb Chaim Rosen, Zechron Livracha, Reb Michael Dorfman, Zechron Livracha, Reb Nachman and Reb Moshe Burstein, Zechron Livracha. And that's our roots, that's where we come from. Tonight's topic is the month of Elul, what you don't know yet about Elul. And to do justice, we need at least until Rosh Hashanah. Unfortunately, though, people have lives and families and other responsibilities, so we'll try to see what we can do in about 30 minutes and leave maybe 10 minutes, 30, 35 minutes, and leave 10 minutes or so for questions, if necessary. There's a famous Mishnah. The first Mishnah in Ksubas begins with the words Nosnim lebesula shneimosar chodesh, that during the time of the Gemara, when a girl was getting married, they would give her 12 months to prepare for the wedding, to prepare clothing, other things. One of the Meforshim writes that we know that each one of the months, each one of the 12 months, has a symbol associated with it, a sign of the zodiac. The month of Tishrei, it's the scales. Moznaim, it's called, to represent the judgment that takes place on Rosh Hashanah and from Rosh Hashanah till Yom Kippur. The month of Adar, it's fish. Dogim, you see all the beautiful pictures that they prepare for Purim. Mazel Adar Dogim. The Mazel for the month of Elul is Besula, the maiden. And one of the great rabbis writes, Nosnim lebesula shneim osar chodesh, that Hashem gives this month the power of 12 months. Because unfortunately what happens is that there are many people who come to Elul and they hear and they read that it's a very important time of tshuva, preparing for Rosh Hashanah, but the person says, prepare what? It's the end. The year is coming to a close. You know, it's gone. They can't really go back, and the answer is can go back, can fix, can correct. Hashem says, if you will do what you can during this month, I will give this month the power and the ability, will make it as if all 12 months were like this. Notnim lebesula shneim osar chodesh, which is very encouraging to know the attitude of Hashem. There's a famous statement in the Gemara, Ein HaKadosh Baruch Hu ba betrunya imbriosov. Hashem doesn't want us to fail. He wants us to succeed. He wants us to win. And he tries to do everything he possibly can to give us every opportunity in the world to succeed. Before, during, and even after. After a test is over, after a person failed a test, there's a makeup, there's an opportunity to correct, to fix, always, always. I'd like to base the discussion a little bit on a chapter in Likutei Moharan, in the second half of Likutei Moharan, chapter 82, where Rabbeinu Zal introduces an interesting concept. He talks about keseder and shelo keseder. Keseder means when things are going orderly, when things are going the way we want them to be going, or the way we perceive they should be. And then there's shelo keseder, which means abnormal, out of order, wrong, things are going wrong, things are going bad. The word shelo keseder takes on these many forms. I remember when I first came to Breslov, one of the things that was incredibly special was that there are many things that a person encounters in this world which, if nobody tells you about it up front, it's unexpected, then the person doesn't know how to deal with it. But if things are spelled out very clearly, if you know you're coming to a place, for example, person's used to living in a furnished home with appliances, with everything, and then for the summer, or part of the summer, they decide they're going to go away. They're going to go hiking, they're going to go doing something else, they're going to go camping. Person going camping, they don't comment on the curtains in their bunk, that the color scheme of the curtains doesn't really match what... That's for your permanent house. That's not for camping or hiking or a place that you're staying temporarily. And in Rabbi Nachman's Sfarim, things are made perfectly clear so that if a person knows it up front, they know what to expect, they know how to deal with it. Rabbi Nachman writes that Hashem is keseder. Hashem is order. Hashem is right. The world, the creation, is shelo keseder. The first word in the Torah, Bereshis, Bara Elokim, in the beginning Hashem created. The word Bereshis, it's brought, is the letters Ba'alef Tishrei. On the first day of Tishrei, Hashem created heaven and earth. What's heaven and earth? Heaven and earth is man. Because the world was not created on Aleph Tishrei. The world was created 6 days before that. The world was created on the 25th of Elul, which was Yom Rishon. On the 6th day of creation, which is Rosh Hashanah, that's when, which is Aleph Tishrei, is when Adam Harishon was created. The word Tishrei gives us an introduction as to what to expect. The word Tishrei is backwards. It's the Aleph Bet backwards. The Aleph Bet, the Torah should have began Aleph Beis Gimel. It starts with Tuf, Shin, Reish, and the letter Yud is similar to the letter Kuf. Kuf in Hebrew is 100, Yud is 10. We know Mispar Kotan, 110 are sort of the same for certain calculations. It's a ones unit. So the Torah tells us that the world was created b'Tishrei. The world was created shelo keseder. So now I know where I am. I know what to expect. There are many people who start their day and they have a plan, and suddenly things start going differently than they planned, and what's going on? Why? This is normal. The norm is shelo keseder. The norm in this world is shelo keseder. Hashem, our mission in this world is for us to be able to take this shelo keseder and plug it into keseder, connect it to Hashem, attach it to a healthy seder. There's a famous statement. People are asked, why did Hashem create the world? Why did Hashem create man? one of the explanations that's given is that just about all of the attributes of Hashem could be satisfied by Hashem himself. Chokhmah, if Hashem has chokhmah, he has the chokhmah. He doesn't need somebody else for that. But the attribute of malchut, the attribute of kingdom, it's written, Ein melech below am. There's no such thing as a king. A person walks into an empty room and announces that he's king, sign him up for the hospital. King over whom? King over whom? Who are you ruling over? Number one. Number two, person walks into a room with a machine gun, and there's 100 people in the room, and he says that everybody agree that I am in charge here. Does everybody acknowledge that I'm king? I'm the authority here, the sole authority here. And everybody says yes, but we know that it's not real. Put the gun away, and then we'll see to what degree people choose to accept your authority or to reject your authority. So for this, Hashem who is emet, Hashem Elokechem emet, Hashem who is the truth, in order for Hashem's kingdom to be a kingdom of truth, Hashem created us, man, and has given us the ability to choose to accept Hashem's authority or to reject Hashem's authority, to choose to do what Hashem prescribes, what Hashem proposes in the Torah, or to do the opposite. This bechira, being put in this position where we have this choice, if a human being chooses to search, to find what does Hashem want, because whatever Hashem wants, that's what I'd like to do. If he's the creator, if he gave me life, like Avram Avinu, who we're told that at a young age started searching, he wanted to find out what's behind this. I know I didn't come out of a test tube, and I don't come from apes, and he wanted to try to figure out, how did I come? How did I come into existence? How did all of this come into existence? And he searched, and by process of elimination, at first he thought maybe it's the sun, maybe it's the moon, and by process of elimination, he disqualified everything and reached out and said, Creator, whoever you are, wherever you are, reveal yourself to me so that I can acknowledge you, so that I can recognize you. And Hashem revealed himself to Avram Avinu. This is us. This is our mission. We have this bechira, and we have the ability to crown Hashem, to make Hashem, to declare Hashem as a king, which is really celebrated on Rosh Hashanah. HaMelech HaKadosh, HaMelech HaMishpat, V'simloch Aleinu, rule over us. We're told so that this is really one of the most important, one of the main purposes of creation and of the world is this Malchut of Hashem. The word Melech is upside down. The order of the Aleph base, Chaf, Lamed, Mem. That's the order. The word Melech is Mem, Lamed, Chaf, backwards, showing again that this world, which is the kingdom of Hashem, the Malchus of Hashem, there's a Shelo Keseder involved. It's in reverse order. It's upside down, in a sense. We're told that Adam and Chava, when they were created, Hashem gave them one instruction. You can eat from all the trees here. There's one tree that I don't want you to eat from. And it's the tree that's good and bad, where good and bad are together. The snake approached Chava, and the snake said, in order to engage her in conversation, he started with a left hook. You're not supposed to be, you can't eat from any of these trees, right? She said, wrong. No, not at all. We can eat from all the trees we want. There's one tree we can't eat, we can't touch. She added a little bit to the instruction, to what Hashem said. The snake, the Nachash, caught that and pushed her into it. Can't touch? What happens if you tell? Look, push. Nothing happens if you touch it. And then the snake went on to try to convince her to eat from it. What was his argument? You know why Hashem told you not to eat from that tree? Because that tree is the secret of his power. That tree is what made Hashem who he is. You know what gave him the ability to create all of this? He ate from that tree. That's why he doesn't want you to eat from that tree, because Hashem knows, Ki beyom acholcha mimen, when you eat from that tree, v'hiyisem kelokim, you'll be just like Hashem, yodei tov v'ra. You'll know the difference between good and bad. What was he trying to get at? How would you like to be Hashem? How would you, instead of having a boss, instead of having to do what Hashem, instead of Hashem being in charge, you could be just the same as him. You could be king. And the Torah tells us that it was from a position of envy, in a sense, that's what people in general look around them. They see someone who has something they don't, somebody who appears to be bigger than them, and the person says, why shouldn't I be big? Why can't I be big like that? And it was this temptation. This was how the snake tempted Chava and Adam HaRishon, that you'll eat from this. You know why Hashem told you? Nobody wants competition. Hashem doesn't want competition. Whereas if you eat from this, you'll be right up there. Chava could have said, who wants to be up there? Who wants to be in the spotlight? I'm doing great down here. Hashem is up there. Let him handle all the responsibility. Let him be in charge. Who wants to be in charge of a world? My life could be, maybe it's going to make my life more complicated, worse. In fact, we find the Torah tells us, that the Mishnah says in Pirkei Avos, Harabonos mekaberes es ba'aleho, that leadership, authority, buries the one who attains it, the one who has it. The Gemara gives the example from the 12 sons of Yaakov Avinu. The one who died first was Yosef HaTzadik. Righteous, tzaddik, everything good. He was a leader. He was in charge of the economy of Egypt, the economy of the world. Harabanut mekaberet et ba'aleho. So that the wise thing would have been to say, when the snake made this offer, how would you like to be Hashem? No thanks. One is enough. But instead, the human attribute, the Yetzer Hara, which has a person searching for power or searching for authority or searching to go above themselves, above where they belong, Chava was tempted and included Adam HaRishon in this, so that Rabbeinu Zal tells us the pegama, the Eitz Hadas, was a pegama of a gaiva, in a sense. Wanting to be king, wanting to be... The offer was, how would you like to be Hashem? And the response was not, no thanks. The response was, yes, I'm in. Because of the fact that this was the error, this was the mistake, this is what brought death to the world, and this is what really put the spotlight on the Shelo Keseder. Because the Torah tells us, as a result of eating from the Eitz Hadas, you know what happened? Hashem said, V'kotz v'dardar tatzmiach lach. You're going to plant wheat, and what's going to be produced is going to be thorns and thistles. That's Shelo Keseder. That's upside down. Imagine a person plants a certain crop, they're planting bananas, and they get peaches instead. But here it was worse. It wasn't just peaches. It was thorns and thistles. This is the example of the Shelo Keseder. Because if we accept the fact that Hashem is Keseder, Hashem is the ultimate Seder, And when we move, the more we move away from Hashem, we're going into Shaloka Seder. So in the beginning, there was only Hashem. When Hashem created the world is not Hashem. The world is one step removed from Hashem. One step removed from Hashem is already an aspect of Shaloka Seder. And to the degree that the world unites with Hashem and accepts Hashem authority, we can be part of that Keseder. The minute there was a transgression, the minute she went against Hashem, Shaloka Seder, the opposite. And the Shaloka Seder was caused by this gaiva, in a sense, this seeking a position that wasn't really available. How do we correct this? If the pegam is gaiva, the solution is anova. The solution is humility. And this is why the Gemara tells us in Brachas, Tova mardus achas belibo shalodam mimea malkos. One sincere regret in a person's heart, the ability for a person to say, I'm sorry, for a person to say, I made a mistake, is better, can accomplish much more than 100 lashes, 100 punishments. And when the Torah speaks about forgiveness, about Hashem being willing to forgive, what is Hashem looking for? There's a pasuk, we know that there's different levels of transgression. There's chait, person commits a sin by accident, they didn't know it was wrong, they didn't realize it was Shabbos, chas v'shalom, they didn't realize you're not allowed to do this on Shabbos. That's one level of sin. There's avon, where a person commits a sin knowing full well that this is forbidden, but I want it, or I want to do this, I'm doing it anyway. And then there's Pesha. Pesha means when a person is doing something spitefully. They're doing this, chas v'shalom, as a way of getting at Hashem. I want him to be angry. I want to insult Hashem. That kind of attitude. Pesha is the worst level of sin. The pasuk says in Micha, "V'over al pesha l'she'erit," that Hashem is willing to forgive, to forego any punishment, for pesha l'she'eris. What is she'eris? The Gemara says, "Lemi shemesim atzmo kishirayim," for a person who makes themselves like leftovers. For a person who says, Hashem, you're king. I made a mistake. I thought that I'll do what I want, and I realized that that's not what it's about. That life in this world is about doing what you want. It's about coming to a realization that Hashem knows better than me what's good for me. What's good for me, what's good for mankind, what's good for the world, and I'm willing to accept His authority. This is this l'she'eris. The pasuk David HaMelech says in Tehillim, "Leiv nishbor v'nidke, Elokim lo tivze." A broken heart, a person whose heart is not stone-hearted, where a person is stubborn. This is what I want. And I'm not interested in what anybody has to say or what anybody else thinks. This is what I want. That's this concept of leiv even, a stone heart. And then there's leiv basar. Leiv basar means a heart of flesh, a soft heart, person that's flexible. Again, a person who has the ability to say, maybe I don't know everything. Maybe I'm not perfect. And the Torah says, leiv nishbar v'nidke Elokim lo tivze. That when a person displays a broken heart, when a person shows that humility, Hashem will never reject that. When the Torah tells us that Moshe Rabbeinu went to bat for Klal Yisrael, time and time again we see episode after episode where Klal Yisrael did things to anger Hashem, to insult Hashem, to offend Hashem. Each time Moshe Rabbeinu went up to defend us, and succeeded. And there's a person who would say, Chas v'shalom, is Hashem so fickle? You know, that on one hand, the Torah tells us he got angry. Vayichar af Hashem. Hashem said, get out of let me at him. Let me at them. I want to destroy them completely. And each time Moshe Rabbeinu succeeds in turning it around, what's his secret? The Torah, in defining Moshe Rabbeinu, the Torah tells us one thing about him only. It doesn't speak about his kindness. It doesn't speak about his intellect. The Torah says, V'ho'ish Moshe onav ma'od mikol ha'adam asher al pnei adama. That Moshe Rabbeinu was the most outstanding person that ever lived with his humility. And the Gemara says, Anova gedola mikulam, that if a person can conquer this, if a person can conquer their gaiva, the feeling that I know, that it's all about me and I, if a person can conquer that, then automatically, naturally, they will be kind. They'll have all the other qualities. That's the one that includes everything. We find that an angel, we're told that the angels are given their name by their mission, usually. The angel Raphael, for example, is the angel that Hashem employs at certain times to provide refuah for somebody. The angel Gavriel is an angel who, when Hashem wants to display gvura, strength. The angel of death, the Gemara says that there's one angel that's multitasking. Hu has-satan, the same angel that tries to convince a person to do the wrong thing, is also the prosecuting attorney. He's the one who goes up to heaven and testifies against the person, prosecutes the person, and he's also the one who's sent back down to earth to punish, chas v'shalom, to carry out the punishment, whatever the person deserves. This angel has a name also. He's called the Samach Mem. Samach Mem, in Hebrew, the word Sam means poison. The letters Samach Mem and Kale at the end, like most angels have. We don't pronounce his name, we don't say the whole word, it's Samach Mem Kale. This angel's name, Samach Mem Aleph Lamed, the numerical value is 131. The word Anava, humility, is 131 exactly. The Torah says that there's an antidote. Every illness has a cure. It has an antidote to it. Hashem says, Barasi Yetzahara, I created this monster, Barasi Torah Tavlin. I created a Torah that's the antidote for it. Who gave us the Torah? Moshe Rabbeinu. What made him most qualified? What quality did he have? Is he a good orator? His vocabulary, his speech? The Torah defines the most important quality he had was anava. He recognized that Hashem is king. Hashem is king. If I am a leader, I'm a shliach of Hashem. I'm here only representing Hashem. I'm a shofar. Hashem is blowing through me. I'm not looking to present anything of my own. I'm here to represent Hashem totally, without modifying, without changing anything, without improving on the Torah that Hashem has given us. It's brought that the words Moshe Rabbeinu, Mem Shin Hey, Reish Beis Nun Vav, is Bigematria 613. Moshe Rabbeinu is the Torah. No additives, nothing more, nothing less. It's unadulterated. It's the message of Hashem in its purest form. And his ability to give that over, and with this we'll close, Rabbeinu Zal says in this chapter in Likutei Moharan that, going back to that first pasuk, Bereshis bara Elokim es hashamayim ves oretz. Hashem created man, we said, Ba'alef Tishrei, and man is a combination of Shomayim and Oretz. A human being is comprised of two parts: a soul, a neshama, a nefesh, and a body. The soul is heavenly. The soul is shamayim. The body is eretz. Hashem took earth, dirt from the ground, and formed our bodies from that. Adam is Adama. We come from Adama, from earth. We are earthly, and at the same time, we are heavenly. A human being is a combination of both. And that's the Beis of Bereshis. The Torah begins with the letter Beis, telling us that Hashem is Echad. Hashem is one. Human beings, earth is all about two. There's night and day. There's male and female. There's soul, body and soul. There's aliyah and yeridah. There's shamayim and eretz. And this is where we'll focus now on Elul. The word Elul, all the Mefarshim tell us, the Tur in Shulchan Aruch mentions this, is the first letters of the pasuk, Ani le dodi, v'dodi li. I am to my beloved, I reach up to Hashem, and Hashem reaches down to me. When I'm feeling good, when I'm feeling happy, when I'm feeling successful, when I'm having a good day, I am reaching up to Hashem. No matter where I am, Hashem is infinite, so there's no such thing as retiring. There's no such thing as stopping. A Jew who believes in Hashem, who recognizes Hashem, knows that there's no such thing as boring in Judaism. No matter how much a person advances, no matter how much a person knows, no matter how much a person has done, there's more and there's better. You can improve on everything, every mitzvah in the Torah, every aspect of Judaism, and especially midot. When we talk about person working on themselves, it's infinite. It's infinite. There's room to improve and to grow and to get better and better, both in our relationship with Hashem and our relationships with other human beings. That's the shamayim. That's going higher and higher. In terms of going down, it's also infinite. No matter how bad things are, there's worse. Chas v'shalom. No matter how far down a person falls, chas v'shalom, there's further. There's lower than that. And the message that the Torah teaches us, the Torah refers to the term derech tshuva, the darkei tshuva, the paths of tshuva. Rabbi Nachman tells us what made Moshe Rabbeinu so special is that Moshe Rabbeinu had the ability to keep going up, and no matter how high he went, he never forgot Hashem. He never forgot that there's higher, that Hashem is still way, way above him. We know the Gemara tells us a story about rabbis, 4 great rabbis, that went to a very high place, Dalet Nichnesu Lapardes. They went to a very high spiritual place. 3 out of the 4 were harmed in the process. The Torah tells us you're going to be successful, you're going to build homes, you're going to have fields, you're going to experience major success. V'ram levavecha, your heart is going to become bloated. You're going to become arrogant. V'shachachta et Hashem Elokecha. You're going to forget Hashem. You're going to say, I built this company. I built this home. I raised this family. Rabbi Nachman asks, it seems illogical. Success, being more successful makes you forget Hashem. Success is a good thing. If it's a good thing, Hashem is good. Tov Hashem lakol. Hashem is good. You would think that the more successful a person is, the closer it brings them to Hashem. Why does the Torah project this image that you're going to be successful and you're going to forget Hashem? And he mentions because there's a potential, there's a concept of vatichena einov meraos, that a person sometimes sees light, and light is beneficial, it's wealthy, it's wonderful, and light can be blinded. A person can be blinded by the light. If a person gets too close to the light, or there's too much light for a person, more than they can handle, then instead of being able to see, it blinds the person. So that there's a potential, a person who doesn't know how to climb properly, the climbing can lead to a major fall. We know people who go rappelling, mountain climbing, and we hear stories that 7 out of 10 don't necessarily succeed. They experience major falls, people die in the process, etc. They're trying to go up, but they end up coming down pretty hard. Moshe Rabbeinu, the Torah tells us about him, O Moshe Allah el Ha'olokim. Moshe Rabbeinu went up, and whenever he went up, he was going up to Hashem. He never lost sight of who he was and who Hashem was. Hashem was always above him. The concept of a Jew wearing a head covering, one of the reasons that's given why men wear yarmulkes and women wear head coverings, is to remind us that I'm not on top. There's something above me. There's someone above me. The word yarmulke is yoreh mika, afraid of Hashem. It makes me aware that I'm not the top. There's something above me. And Moshe Rabbeinu, who went higher than anybody else, never forgot that. In terms of going down, the Torah tells us that Moshe Rabbeinu set the example that no matter how far down the Jews went, a golden calf, spies, everything, they went to... Moshe Rabbeinu never jumped ship. He never left them. The pasuk says Moshe Rabbeinu's agenda was kulo sag yachtov, Rabbeinu Zal says. Even a person who retreated from everything, a Jew who left everything, Moshe Rabbeinu said, yachtov, I'm with him. I'm with him. The Torah says, vayakel Moshe, Moshe Rabbeinu gathered together, kehilot. He gathered everybody. He didn't leave anybody out. He went so far that when Moshe Rabbeinu, when the Jews were going to leave Egypt, and there was the Erev Rav, who were a source of constant trouble for Klal Yisrael, and Hashem tried to convince Moshe Rabbeinu, leave him. Moshe Rabbeinu said, leave him? No, maybe we'll be able to fix them. Maybe we'll be able to include them. Moshe Rabbeinu went, the story, the Medrash tells of a situation where the Egyptians at one point issued a decree that the Jews have to complete a certain amount of construction every day, and if they don't finish, we'll put Jewish babies in there instead of bricks. And sure enough, Moshe Rabbeinu was walking past the wall at the end of a day, and he sees an Egyptian taking a Jewish baby, putting it into the wall with cement. And Moshe Rabbeinu was standing there, waiting for the Egyptian to walk away, and he's going to grab that child out of the wall and save his life. And he's about to run over, and he hears a voice from heaven saying, don't. Moshe Rabbeinu hears the voice from heaven and says, sorry. Runs over, yanks the child out of the wall, saves his life. That child ended up becoming Micha, who made Pesel Micha, an idol. The child who helped form the golden calf. It's too long to go into right now, but he watched when Moshe Rabbeinu was able to perform a miracle, in a sense, of getting the coffin of Yosef HaTzadik to come up from the Nile River using a certain petek that Moshe Rabbeinu had written the words Alei Shor, rise up ox, being Yosef HaTzadik. And this child, after Moshe Rabbeinu left, took that piece of clay, that shard, and when the people were throwing gold into the fire by the Egel Azov, he threw that into the fire, which resulted in a golden calf. So Hashem wanted to avoid this, and Moshe Rabbeinu's goodness, in a sense, was boundless. He couldn't leave anybody out. He couldn't reject anybody. And it's this attitude, it's this greatness of Aliyah and Yeridah, this Ani le dodi, where Moshe Rabbeinu was always looking to go higher and higher, and his climbing never allowed him to forget who he was relative to Hashem. and the ability to reach down to a person no matter how far they were. This is the example that Moshe Rabbeinu said, this is the ani dodi, dodi li. This is the example that Moshe Rabbeinu set for us. People use the term Baal Tshuva. Baal Tshuva, a person who wants to come close to Hashem. Reb Nuson writes, the real Baalei Tshuva are the tzaddikim. Baal means master of Tshuva. Because in order to do real Tshuva, a person needs to know how to go up and how to go down. There's no such thing in this world for anybody. There's Shamayim and Eretz. There's heaven and earth. Rabbi Nachman was once at a wedding and they performed a comedy act where a person came in first dressed up in a certain way, and the people applauded and everything, and then they ran out quickly, changed, came back dressed as something totally different. So in this comedy act, the person came in first as an angel, white curtain and hooting and tooting, and then ran out quickly, came back dressed in black robes of a priest. In Yiddish, you have the word malach. Malach means an angel, and a priest is a galach. Rabbi Nachman said, that's us. That's us. A human being in this world experiences such ups and downs that 1 minute a person can be a malach, an angel, having strong feelings for Hashem, or for their parents, or for their wife. There's nothing in the world I won't do for my wife or my husband. And a minute later, somebody says something or somebody does something, and there's an explosion. Galach, a priest, the exact opposite. And it's these tzaddikim, Moshe Rabbeinu, the other tzaddikim, who set an example for us to know that there is this shamayim and aretz, there are ups and there are downs, and there's a body and a soul, and that they're pulling in different directions, but it's possible within the framework of Torah. Hashem has given us, Moshe Rabbeinu and Hashem have given us the tool, the Torah. The Gemara says about the Torah, Kefelach that afilu poshe Yisrael melei mitzvos karimon, that Hashem designed the Torah in such a way that even the worst sinners, not knowingly, are performing many mitzvot. Because again, Hashem wants us to succeed. He wants us to have credits. And the tzaddikim are the ones who attach us to the Torah. They attach us to these mitzvahs, and they guide us how to be able to handle the ups. A tzaddik will be able to give a person, by looking at the tzaddik and seeing how great he is, what levels he's achieved in knowledge and midot, and despite that, he doesn't take any credit for himself. Anytime there's any credit, it's Hashem. Hashem gave me the abilities. Everything I have is only from Hashem. And at the same time, being able to see a tzaddik when things are not going so well, being able to see Moshe Rabbeinu or other tzaddikim when the Jews are at their worst, and being able to defend us, being able to see the good in us at all times. This gives us an example of how we can achieve success. During this period of time, especially this month, where a person gets credit for the entire year if we do it right. If we practice this ani dodi, dodi li, that I keep trying to grow my feelings for Hashem, to get better and better, and no matter how good I am, I know that I haven't caught up with Hashem yet. And I'm not looking to catch up with Hashem. Chava was offered this position. Would you like to be Hashem? She said yes, and look what happened. So if anybody wants to, if my wife wants to idolize me, no thanks. Not interested. Or if anybody wants to. Hashem is in that position. And any good that we have, we attribute to Hashem. And at the same time, no matter how far down I go, the Torah says that we are Eretz. We come from Adama, we come from earth. But the tzaddikim show us that just like Moshe Rabbeinu never left us even at our worst times, Hashem also will never leave us, will never let go of us. And if we show the slightest regret, the slightest humility, and this is where on Tisha B'Av, for example, when we remember the destruction of the Beis Hamikdash. How do we express our feelings? By sitting on the ground, by humbling ourselves before Hashem. During these days of tshuva, how do we show our feelings of regret? By recognizing, by crowning Hashem, by doing whatever we can to show respect, to crown Hashem, which will be culminated with Rosh Hashanah and the Aseret Yimei Tshuva when we'll verbalize it. HaMelech HaKodesh, HaMelech HaMishpat. Hashem should help, we should be zocher. That this Elul should be a success for all of us in our relationship with Hashem, in our relationship with each other, to be able to emulate the tzaddikim who have set this example for us, and be zocher to see Hashem's true feelings for us with the end of all the tsar and suffering of Klal Yisrael and the world, with the coming of Moshiach, the building of the Beis Hamikdash, b'mher b'yameinu, amen v'yamein.